to Align and Elevate. Love who you are. A show where I can be me and you can be you. Let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Align and Elevate. Love who you are, and I am super excited on this January 1st to start the new year with Adrienne Harris. I'm going to let her introduce herself in just a second, but all I have to say is the universe brought us together, and it has been so fun talking to her already behind the scenes, and so I am super excited for our talk today. She's going to talk on numerology and the other parts that she does. She uses that as a tool to help people align themselves and elevate themselves into who they truly are. So I think that is like so special. So I'm going to let you take it away, Adrienne.
Oh, thanks, Melanie. Yeah, my name is Adrienne Harris, and I am a professional numerologist. I call myself a soul path guide because there really is no job description for what it is that I do. And I'm also a relationship strategist. So I'm actually coded to work with people and the relationships and the relationship that you have with yourself. And so thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited about our conversation today.
Good. That is beautiful. Okay, so let's get started. You tell me what you want to go on to first.
Yeah, so there has been a lot of talk about 2026. If
Yeah.
you have not been on social media, you'll
Right.
see everybody. Actually, I see a lot of people talking about numerology now, and
Yeah.
numerology needs to be mainstream. It is a system that has been kind of, I don't want to say hidden from humanity, but it's kind of been, not
Back
talked about.
burner.
I mean,
Yeah.
we talk a lot about astrology and so on and so forth, but I have the belief, and it's a deep inner truth, that numerology is tied to the beginning of the universe because it's mathematical. And so if you think about even Mother Nature and and how it looks, we see the Fibonacci sequence,
Right.
we see spirals, we see all of these kinds of things, and that's all mathematical. And so it's kind of funny because I'm not mathematical at all, but numerology found me about 11 years ago. And so I just think that we're seeing such a shift happening right now in the world and energetics. And yeah, I'm loving it.
I know I've noticed there's some different, I'm in kind of different groups really and truly in my life. And some people that I wouldn't think would know, and everybody knows this is a 1 year that we're going into, or it's the year of the horse. So explain that a little bit for people that don't understand it.
Yeah, so what we do is it's really simple, and I actually have a group called Numerology Made Simple because I want to simplify numerology for people because it's not that difficult. We're literally working with the numbers 1 through 9. We have some other numbers, but they're just an amplification of the numbers 1 through 9. So when we add 2026, so 2 plus 2 plus 6 actually equals 10. And in numerology, 10 is like the next level after the 9. But it's also, if we take away that 0, it's a 1. But that 0 plays actually a very significant part in this 10 energy or the 1 energy, because the 0 is the all or the nothing. It's like literally, if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of people, the other part to it that I don't think a lot of people really realize is that the 2 2s and the 6 that are underlying the 10 or the 1 have a huge impact on us as well. So this is why 2017 will feel different than 2026 or 2034, right? Because it is the underlying energetics that we have. And this even pertains to people and to ruling numbers and to all of these other kinds of things. So I'm really excited because today is a 111 energy.
Mm-hmm.
But in numerology, the day is a 3 when we add up all of the numbers.
Mm.
So it's a very unique little portal that we're going through today. And I just think that it's so perfect that we're here talking about all of this kind of stuff.
So I have to say something really quick that is hilarious to me. Because I'll mention to my husband it's the 222 portal, or it's the, whatever. He goes, there's always some portal happening or whatever. He like brushes it off like it's not a big deal. So can you explain that a little bit, in that there really are, and how do I put this? Every day is different that we have, and the energetics of the day are different, collectively speaking, right, over the entire world. Is that what they're talking about when they talk about today isn't a 111 portal?
Mm-hmm.
Explain that if you can a little bit.
Yeah, so the reason that, and again, I want to just be very respectful because a lot of people are just coming into numerology and they're like, "Oh, it's this, it's that." Yes, the underlying energetics is there. Actually,
Hmm.
today is a 3 energy day. So
Okay.
just so everybody knows, 3 is an amazing amplifier of January 1st, 2026, which is a 1. So it is a 111. So it's almost kind of like, if you want to think about, we're kind of like hitting the reset button. It's
Hmm.
kind of like we're being seated. I saw something on Instagram where someone had a list of dates where, January and then October, where we're going to hit these 111 portals.
I saw that.
And I do appreciate people putting that information out there. Those are underlying energetics. Just kind of like the 2026, there's underlying energetics. Like, and we had kind of talked about this previous to us hitting record. You have two twos in your chart.
Hmm.
And 20 the 2020s is all about your intuition. The 2 in numerology is tied to intuition.
Okay.
And if you think about it, January is actually a 2 energy month. And so we're stepping into this extremely intuitive time. We're going to be stepping into a time where there's a ton of ideas coming at us, especially with that 1 energy. That's what 1 is. One is actually the ego,
Mm.
but it's the ideas. And
Mhm.
the reason that Pythagoras doesn't, so when we work with the Pythagorean numerology, the ruling numbers, like your ruling number, goes 2 through 11. We don't start with 1. Western numerology has kind of said, oh, there's a life path number 1. If you're life path number 1, then you have the path of the ego,
Mhm.
which is what Pythagoras didn't want.
Yeah.
Pythagoras wanted to understand that there's actually a ruling number 10. And so that is very leadership energy. It is about innovation. It is about fresh starts.
Hmm.
And so if you think about this 111 energy, this is it. We have the fresh start.
Right.
So that's sort of how, that's how I kind of look at numerology and through the lens.
So if people are wondering, what was the energy in January 1st of 2025?
So it would have been, so it was actually a 9 energy year.
Okay.
So anything you add to, so it would have been 119. And so it would actually be a 2 energy. So do you know what I mean? Like this is what I try to say to people is that yes, we call them mini portals when we have this repeating energetics.
Right.
And that was one of the neat things about the 9 energy is anything you add to 9 equals that number.
I think I
So
have.
2 plus 9
Yeah.
equals 11. 1 plus 1 equals 2.
Right.
Right? So
Right.
this is the unique thing about numerology. It's literally mathematical. And so when we look at it, it's just a simple process of understanding what those numbers mean. So the 9 energy of last year was all about completing a cycle. We have also other like outlying things, like we can go into the levels of Kali Yuga and Chinese astrology and Western astrology or Vedic astrology. And I truly believe that we have been gifted these tools for us to be able to understand these energetics. I met a gentleman the other day who practices Mayan calendar system, and he sent me all this stuff, and I was just like, whoa, like you're fire hosing me with information. Slow down. Because I really truly want to make numerology simple. That's why I created a group, because I really want it to be simplified. Understanding your own ruling number is to really help you. Like, that's your overall arching umbrella information. And I actually wrote a book on this about my own spiritual awakening, because 10 or 11 years ago, I can't remember now, but I was on a workshop and we calculated our ruling numbers, and mine came to 29, and 2 plus 9 equals an 11. And so I'm a master 11 in my numerology. And my soul literally did a 360 ever since I've known that information. I sold my company, I got divorced, I started a new relationship, I moved. Like, a lot has happened for me in the last 9 years of my life. And I actually wrote a book on my spiritual awakening journey.
And is it out already, or was it out?
Yeah, it's on Amazon. Yeah, it's called Breadcrumbs from the Universe, my midlife spiritual awakening.
Do you have a copy you can hold up real quick?
I actually don't. I don't have a physical copy of it yet, believe it or not. When you order an editor's copy, it takes a long time to get to you. I did also, I've created a numerology planner as well too. Well, my mentee did. So we actually have a really cool planner, which I have a proof of right here. And yeah, it's really neat because it is got big proof on here from Amazon. It actually lays out the daily energetics. And so it's really neat because you can go in and you can look at any week. And Jesse's gone ahead and put the energetics here. That we also have a weekly affirmation. And then it's really about intention setting. We called it aligned intentions because, like, for instance, it says, what intention would you like to set for this week? What am I grateful for this week? It really is about taking us away from this patriarchal world of setting goals and all these other kinds of things. Like, what's the intention? Maybe my intention is to work on my spiritual health more this week. Maybe it's to walk twice this week. Maybe it's to connect with a friend. Do you know what I mean? Like, the intention piece of it is so important because it's meant to be
if this year is a year of one, which is new, which I take that as being more intentional with my creation of what I'm doing in my life, that planner would be perfect to just as a framework to help me get into that mode of thinking, let's say. I don't want to say habit because habit is a charged word.
Yeah. The really neat thing about the planner that I really love that Jessie has done is, so she started working with me. It was kind of a strange, and I truly believe that everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
She came into my world. She was like, I don't need coaching or whatever, but she's like, numerology intrigues me. So I work with two numerology systems. One is Pythagorean numerology, and the second one is the Book of Life, and it's actually based on the 52 cards. These ones right here. And so she came to me, and her and I looked, again, I'm a relationship strategist, so I looked at the relationship I have with her, and her and I are sun and moon to each other, which is actually a really cool relationship.
Yeah.
And so we started talking about this, and so I had a little calendar that I also have up for sale as well too for $9 Canadian, and people can download that from my website. But she was like, oh, do you have a planner? And I was like, no. I said, someone else I know as a numerologist has a planner. And she's like, well, I'd like to put together a planner. And I was like, sure. So she actually broke it out to, like, there's daily energetics, There's how to like look at the empowered or the disempowered side of the numbers. So for instance,
Mm.
today is a day number 3 in numerology. So the empowered side is creative, activation of ideas. It's about joy, it's about social, it's about creativity.
Yeah.
But in a disempowered state, there might be a scarcity mindset. There might be anxiety.
Mm.
Yeah, so each date carries energetics, and we have that all here in the planner, which is really neat.
That is really cool. I will be getting one of those because I think that
Yeah,
would
I'll
really
send you
be
the links
fun
for
to
them.
do. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll put it below the recording too so people can grab it too.
absolutely. I'd
Anything
love
that
that.
can help people on a daily basis,
Yeah.
being able to understand their own energetics, I think is really important.
Yeah. And I really think that humanity kind of needs a bit of a help right now. I
Hmm.
think that there's a lot of people kind of going through their own spiritual awakening right now. And I can kind of, take a look at your chart and know that you've already have been on that path.
Hmm.
And so, for people don't really understand, and nor did I, what our spiritual awakening is. Spiritual awakening is really just, um, it's just allowing your consciousness to shift.
Yeah.
It's seeing yourself from the observer. And that to me is what my soul has come here to do to help other people, is to get out of that disempowered state,
Right.
to heal their trauma. I've got a background in trauma. I experienced a lot of trauma actually growing up, and that is, to be honest with you, the majority of 11 life paths usually deal with some sort of experience. Not all of them, but the
Hmm.
majority of them experience a difficult childhood or
Hmm.
difficult life. And the whole idea of that person or that ruling number is to turn around and take that pain and turn it into purpose in this world.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, just that alone, if someone is dealing with that and knowing that,
Hmm.
to me, like you said, could be a 360 shift for somebody.
Yeah, and it was for me. So I'll just share a little bit of my childhood story. So I was actually sexually abused from a very young age.
Mm.
Both of my parents, I love them dearly. They're both still alive. And they're actually reading my book right now, which is kind of full circle moment because I do talk a lot about my trauma.
Yeah.
But when we experience these things, I actually got myself into counseling when I was 23, and I'm now 52. And so I was in and out of counselors' offices for almost 30 years. And so when it comes to like, and I'm actually coded to become or be a counselor. So I kind of do that. I don't call myself a counselor because I'm not certified in that area, but
Right.
when it comes to working with people, I give them unique tools. So, for
Yeah.
example, I have a client who's, working on her own forgiveness. She's got her own year number 9 that she's working through.
Right.
And because we all have personal years that we navigate as well. And I just sent her, I said, have you ever done Ho'onoponopono? And
Hmm.
that is the Hawaiian,
Yep.
way of apologizing to yourself or to your soul. She's like, no, I've never heard of it. So I give people tools that normal counselors wouldn't.
Yeah. I use that tool as well, and it's
Yeah,
powerful. It
it
is.
is very powerful.
Okay, so just for people who don't know it, this is the silliest example I can give you, but profound for me. So my relationship with my stepson when he moved in with us when he was, I don't know, he's a teenager, okay? You know how teenagers are. They don't want to do anything. And there was just this disconnect between us. And I said the Hopopono to him energetically, meaning I didn't say it to his face. He was upstairs, I was downstairs. I just energetically said it to him. And I swear, not very long after that, he walked down the stairs and I said, would you please take the trash out? And he was like, yes. There was no fight. There was no, like a teenager does, or I don't want to do that, or I don't have to do that. There was none of that. It was like coherence came in that moment. And so I highly recommend using that tool if you have any trouble with anyone, including yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? It's come into my consciousness, I would say, in the last 9 years. And it's so funny because, like, I think my soul wanted to have its spiritual awakening journey in my 20s. So, in my early 20s, I traveled to Australia and New Zealand when I was 22, and I actually read the Celestine prophecies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so I was raised as an atheist, so I wasn't raised with a religion. And so I didn't know what prayer was. I didn't understand these kinds of things. And for me, I have to say that honestly, it's just been the last 9, 10 years of my life that I've actually believed in a higher energy. And my journey actually started with that little tiny whisper, with that intuition. I actually used to babysit 45 multi-million dollar rich people's homes.
Mm, cool.
I used to take care of vacation homes for
Mhm.
vacation homeowner or for highly affluent clients.
Yeah.
And I just remember things happening over and over and over again. And I finally was just like, you know what? I was not put on this earth to clean toilets or to deal with these drama things.
Hmm.
And this is actually, I wrote about this in my book because it was that small little whisper inside of me that I actually listened to.
Yeah.
And at the time, I had started journaling back in like 2017. And that was a one energy that year. And we sold our business of February 2019.
Mm.
So if you think about it, like if I look back at my own personal yearly energetics,
Uh-huh.
my soul has set, has laid the groundwork and the foundation for this.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's so how can we help people hear that whisper?
To be honest with you, and this is actually something again that I talk about in my book, is actually listening to our intuition.
Hmm.
There are so many of us that are being distracted right now by our phones, by Netflix, by numbing ourselves, by, living in this world that we have been living in, which is very patriarchal. It's
Yeah.
been, no longer are women birthing babies and staying home and being the nurturer kind of thing. We're taught to go out and get a job and
Right.
succeed and all these other kinds of things. And I'm extremely ambitious, so I've been an entrepreneur for 19 years,
Yeah.
which is feels a little bit crazy for me. Um, but at the same time, we need to slow down. We need to get into meditation. Even before you and I started this recording, you just like came back inside of your body. So
Mhm.
I am in the process of writing because my book was too long. The editor didn't tell me this, actually, to fire my editor.
Oh my
My
gosh.
my book was too long. It was almost 100,000 words,
Uh-huh.
and they kind of say, you should have your book around 50,000. Well, mine's not 50,000, but it is what it is.
Mhm.
And so what I've done was I pulled out all the self-help portions of that book, and I'm in the process of writing a second book that is a self-help companion to
Okay.
my original book. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, that'll be
Hmm.
really good. Because you're right. Sometimes I'll ask people, how do you receive your intuition? Because we all receive it differently.
Yeah.
Just that question alone gets people to thinking, well, I don't know. How do I receive my intuition?
Yeah.
Most people know it, they're not aware of it.
Yeah.
And I tell people that's a 1 degree shift, literally,
Totally.
and so then that opens the door for them to listen to it more and more. And an invitation I would have for people is the next time you sit down to watch a movie, look for a higher message in the movie. Don't
Mm-hmm.
look at the theme, the plot, the I call those 3D things. How the movie progresses. Is there one or two sentences in that movie that really hits you? That's a message. That's an intuition that you need to take from that movie that you just watched. Maybe there is something in there that will change something for you down the road because you heard that one sentence.
Yeah.
To me, that's using your intuition. Even in the things that would sometimes numb us, like watching a movie or something, look for the higher message in it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think one of the biggest things, and I teach people about their clairs because I think we're
Mhm.
all encoded to it.
Yeah.
And again, we've been so pulled off of our natural, innate path, our spiritual path, our connection to the divine or whatever God source, whatever anyone wants to call it.
Right.
People are always like, well, God spoke to me. And I'm like, well, yeah, God's actually inside of you, and that's your intuition. And so you're
Hmm.
actually part of, you are a tiny spark of the one of all. And
Right.
again, how you treat yourself is very important because how you treat yourself affects me and vice
Hmm.
versa. And
Right.
so I always, when it comes back to it, I like to help people with the relationship they have with themselves because until you actually start to treat yourself with self love, self value, self belief, then that wisdom is not going to land inside of you. And
Yeah.
that's why I love utilizing the tool that I have because I can see that people are encoded a certain way.
That is such a gift that you have to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that is so fun. Yeah. Ooh, I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. Very cool. So tell me a little bit about how you work with people. Like if someone wants to come to you and work with you, how does that happen exactly?
Yeah, so normally people come in through my website.
Okay.
People can connect with me, and I actually like to interview my clients. I actually just had a client who's going through way too much, and we were considering working together, and she emailed me and she's like, I'm super overwhelmed. And I said, actually, I don't think it's a good time for you to work with me.
Hmm.
And the reason that I say that is because your soul has to be ready to do the work. And I find that a lot of people also get really stuck in the action piece because that's the
Hmm.
ego just trying to keep us safe.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so people come in through my website. I have an intake form that people fill out, and then I go through and I look at it. I calculate people's energetics. Um, it's one of the first things I do, and I really just like to see, what their personal year is. Like for yourself, you are closing out a personal year 9, and so you're about to step into a one energy year
Mm.
because when we take your month plus your day and we add those together, it equals 9. And so
Okay.
we add that to the number of last year because it was a 9 energy year. So 9 plus 9 equals 9.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll ask you personally, have you been closing out a lot of cycles? Have you been working on forgiveness? Have you been letting go of the old you?
Yeah. I've actually been working with someone right now for the last, I don't even know, 8 weeks maybe. This, and I'm still doing it for another few more weeks. Emotion code. So letting go of a lot of emotions that have been stored in my body. Some of them are generational traumas that we're working on. So that's one piece where I'm closing that out, sort of. So it's bleeding into this year a little bit. Um, Being more intentional with my time, not over giving. I'm a super overgiver. So that is one thing I am closing out this year and learning to honor my time and my, I can't think of the word, not self depreciation for the comfort of others.
Yeah. You actually carry a lot of responsibility in your chart.
Hmm. Yeah.
And so, Yeah, you really need to discern what is your responsibility and what is someone else's responsibility. And considering what you do for a living when it comes to, body work and
Yeah.
helping people energetically and physically, that's one thing that you really need to know about yourself is you are coded to that.
Yeah.
And I find a lot of people who have that responsibility, you have so much determination in your chart as well too. Like you
Mhm.
are extremely determined.
Yeah.
And again, quite often what happens with that arrow of determination is you can put your blinders on and you can be the task queen, or you can take on a project and be like, this is it, I'm done because I'm complete. I don't
Yeah.
want to let it go. But at the same time, the discernment that comes with that. And it really is about, like you said, what is what can you do for yourself
Yeah.
versus what we can do for other people, because you are so empathic. And that's kind of what I had shared with you before is you intuitively know what other people need without them knowing that that's what they need.
Right.
And so the way that you're encoded is that you might actually take on that stuff for other people when your soul is like, "Oh gosh, no." So yeah, so it's really neat that you've actually naturally been going through this process.
But
Um,
that process literally has taken me probably close to 10 years, kind of like what you were
yeah.
saying.
Hmm.
It doesn't come all at once. It is definitely a process. And I feel like
No.
I'm just at that cusp, like you're talking about,
Yeah.
of really understanding that more and being able to see it in the moment, not later on and go, oh, wait a minute, I did that again. It's more, okay, now I'm starting to recognize it.
Yeah, well, you're a ruling number 7, so you've got a lot of lessons. And you will repeat that lesson over and over and over again until you see it.
Yeah.
And this is you're also a day number 7 too, but that 7 also makes you extremely intuitive. And so this is the part that I want people or the listeners to understand is that we are in this society of where we can jump on our phones and we can go on Amazon and we can just buy. We're such a society now that is we've been so pulled away from our natural divine timing, which is another thing or format that I utilize based upon numerology.
Hmm.
And so the thing is that things take time. Just
Right.
like if you think about making sourdough bread, it's not going to be made in one day. It takes a couple of days.
Yep.
It takes its own natural way of fermentation and all these other kinds of things. And you can't rush a diamond. It just isn't possible. And
Right.
so you're going through this process, and I love the fact that it has taken you the 9 years because that is part of our journey. And it's the same thing for me. Like, I am not the same person that I was 9 years ago. I was at an event for my girlfriend who she ran a Day of the Dead event, which I thought was really neat. It was really
Hmm.
exciting, very different. Everyone came dressed up. It was a fundraiser, and it
Hmm.
was really interesting because I was back in my old town, and a lot of people saw the old Adrienne. They didn't see the new me,
Wow. That's
and
interesting.
it was a really interesting experience for me because it was a moment of reflection. It was a moment of, you know what, that's who that girl used to be.
Yep.
And I don't right now, like, I've really let go of what people think of me. And I've really just had to step up and just be myself and not worry about, the naysayers. There's always going to be someone who doesn't like you. But
Yeah.
it was a really big eye opening thing because I used to be so involved in my community. I used to be so involved in charity work and in, you know, uh, philanthropy. I still am, but I do it in my own way in my business. I'm very philanthropic.
Right.
I'm coded for it. And
Um,
so it's kind of, it was a bit of a full circle moment, but I was like, this is really interesting to observe that and be the observer, which is the whole idea of when your consciousness shifts, you become the observer of what you're doing and what you're thinking and how you're being.
Right. I totally love that. And I do think it does take us sometimes stepping back into what you were saying, like go be in the same things you would have been in 10 years ago and see that. To me, I've done that recently, been around people that I've been around since my childhood. And it like just shows you how much you've changed because sometimes we don't even recognize the changes we have made.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I do believe that that has to do with our frequency. So we are all energy. So if we want to just take numerology out of it for a moment, we carry a frequency and we carry an energy. And numerology is just the tool that we can use to understand it. But the thing is that no matter what, we carry a frequency, be it that, you have childhood wounds that you haven't looked at or whatever it is. We all kind of go through this world unconsciously until something like this happens where we meet somebody or it's and I truly believe that we've chosen. If people know anything about Akashic records,
Hmm.
everyone say that it's written in the records, and I do believe that. And again, like even just our meeting, it is just been divine timing. And that's what, excites me about the internet and where we're at right now is because I'm in Canada and you're in the US, and it was just we got on a sort of an introductory call, and I can't wait to host you on my podcast because it really is about us being able to connect. And this is what we're also seeing. So if we want to layer in, because I use astrology as well too,
Hmm.
Pluto has moved into Aquarius, and Aquarius is all about community. It's about connection.
Yeah.
We've been so disconnected from one another. And so this is where I love that we're shifting. We're no longer living in the old ways. And
Yeah.
guess what? We get to create it the way that we want because we're natural creators.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that is so true. And I feel like even in the last year, maybe, because I've shifted, I have met people that are just, it's more of a genuine relationship with them. I guess I can, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't know how to explain that to people who aren't there yet. But just know that you can have much deeper relationships with people once you know more about yourself.
Absolutely. And again, I truly believe that that has been stripped or pulled away from us.
Hmm. Yeah.
And one of the things, and I actually heard this on a podcast, is that we look at our physical health, we've looked at our mental health, and one of the two health areas that have been missing is our emotional health and our spiritual health. And we are not an emotional intelligent society,
No.
and we need to understand emotional intelligence, and we also need to mature emotionally as well too. And again, I'm encoded to that because quite often I'm teaching people about, setting boundaries and, healthy communication and asking to have your needs to be met. And what are your non-negotiables and what is your childhood need? Like these are all the things that I talk about because really that all ties into emotion. That all ties into how do we want to feel. Even in my, I have a mastermind, and we did values, visions, and lifestyle. And I went to the girls and I said, so how do you want to feel? And they were like, what? And I'm like, this isn't your normal value setting
Right.
experience, and back in the day, because I lived in the corporate world for a long time.
Yeah.
It was like, here's a list of your values and you pick out the ones that most resonate with you. And I'm like, I don't want you to do that. And it actually took a client of mine almost 3 months to come up with her values. But I was like, how do you want to feel?
Hmm.
And she's like, she finally got back to me. She's like, I want to feel freedom. And I'm like, then that's a value. And
Yeah.
she's actually encoded for it. And I
Yeah.
always say this to people, your actual values are coded your in
In
your
your,
numbers.
oh, I love that.
Yeah. And this is one of the big things is that we go through this life. I find that a lot of people get triggered. And I always say triggers are actually one of the best things for us because that when you get triggered, that's a value. So something bumps up against you that doesn't sit well with you. It causes an emotional reaction, which is where we need to understand this emotional intelligence.
Hmm.
But really, truly, that trigger is part of your intrinsic self. So, my number one value is harmony. And so, how other people are treated is extremely important to me. And
Hmm.
so, during the pandemic, there was a lot of people who weren't treated very well.
Right.
And I I got really triggered. And it was through that work that I actually realized what my values were and
Hmm.
understand how I how I navigate this world. And this is what I teach now because without knowing our values and without knowing who we are, we really kind of don't really know what we want.
Yeah, we just kind of drift along through life and not,
Yeah.
yeah. And
I meet a lot of people who've gone to school, gotten their degrees, their masters, their this, and then they get into the job that they thought that they wanted, like a full engineering degree.
yeah,
And then all of a sudden, the kid's
they're
just
like,
like, I'm going to go work for this painting company. And I'm like, what?
yep.
And he's like, yeah, I just don't like the engineering, world. And I'm like, wow, okay, go for it, buddy.
My daughter did the same thing. She went into school for 5, 6 years and got a degree that it doesn't resonate with her,
Yeah,
you know? So that happens a lot. People go
yeah.
and they turn around and become a barista and they're happy as all get out, you know? It's like,
Yeah, and I don't want to shame or blame people for that because I
no,
really truly believe that that is our soul's journey. Like
right.
I always tell people, um, find what you love and do what you love. I have a 22-year-old son and he
Mhm.
was, he's still kind of trying to figure out
Finding
his
his way.
path.
Yeah.
And, the money is there for him if he wants to go to school or whatever. But I said to him, I'm like, what do you love? And he's like, Mom, I love cars. And I'm like, okay. And so he's working at a car dealership right now. And I'm
Yep.
just like, do what you love.
Right.
And if you don't love it, then find something different. But
Yeah.
don't go through this lifetime hate, like going to school, hating what you do because this is why we have sort of this midlife crisis, which I won't get into on that, but in our
Right.
numerology, age 44 and 45 are major transition years
Mm.
within our systems.
Interesting. Yep.
And there's a reason why people go through it. And even in my own personal life, that was when my ex-husband and I divided and
Mhm.
separated. And so this is one of the things that I always just say to people is that if you don't know, ask, talk to somebody, seek, like you said, you're doing emotion code with someone.
Yeah.
There's a lot to do with that because ultimately you're tied. So each person or each energetic is tied to what we call is a karmic lesson and then a reward.
Right.
So I believe everyone is here to go through that big karmic lesson and they will receive the reward once they go through that process.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, we could totally talk forever,
No.
but I don't want people to have to stay with us that long. And we've been going now for almost an hour. So
Yeah.
let's wrap up our talk with other people, and then you and I can talk on our own.
For
But
sure.
I am so glad that we've had this discussion today. And my intention is just to help people understand there's different ways to look at different things. Like you said, if you're struggling in any way at all, do some research, find the person that you're willing to work with and that is aligned to work with, and just start opening the can, and see what's in there.
Yeah.
This sometimes can be, I'm sure you understand the word heart wall,
Yeah.
but we build a wall sometimes around us for protection, especially when we're little. And sometimes when you start breaking that wall down, it is amazing what you can find, and amazing how you can shift and change into being who you are really meant to be.
I totally agree with you. Thank you so much for this. It was beautiful.
So if anybody is listening and they want to work with Adrienne, I will put all of her links and everything below that you can find. Any closing remarks?
I want people to understand that I always have a saying is, life is not about what you have, it's about who you are. And you can make the biggest impact by just showing up and being your authentic self. But it takes time to understand who that person is. So until then, just keep being you.
Yeah. I love that. All right, everyone. We will catch you on the next show. And until then, align and elevate yourself. And most importantly, love who you are. Thanks for listening today to Align and Elevate. If I can help you in any way, look me up at melanieking.me or check me out on Facebook, Instagram. MK Healer is my handle. As always, I will be me, you be you, and love who you are.